It started like any other Wednesday afternoon. The sun hung lazily over the suburban rooftops of our quiet cul-de-sac, and the rhythmic chirp of sprinklers filled the air. My son, Jace, was in the backyard playing with Max, our golden retriever. Max was everything to Jace: protector, best friend, secret keeper. Since Jace's mother passed away 2 years ago, the two had become inseparable. I swear that dog understood my boy better than most people ever could. I was fixing a fence panel when I first saw her. A woman in a khaki vest and matching cap walked briskly up the driveway, clipboard in hand, a patch on her vest reading, County Animal Wellness Division. She had short cropped silver hair and that overly crisp, authoritative energy you see in airport security officers. I set down my hammer and met her halfway. "Afternoon," she said with a forced smile. "I'm Drive. Karen Ellis, County Vet Services. We're conducting spot inspections following reports of a contagious canine virus in the area." "Contagious virus?" I asked, suddenly alert. "Nobody told us anything." "Oh, we're going door to door in Zone C today. There was a confirmed case a few blocks over." "Don't worry," she added quickly, seeing the concern on my face. "It's mostly precautionary. Just need to give a quick wellness check, take a look at vaccination records." I eyed the badge clipped to her lanyard. The photo looked a little off, pixelated, like it had been printed in a rush. But the official logos gave me pause, and I wasn't exactly used to dealing with government procedures. "He's up to date on all his shots. You want to see the paperwork?" She nodded. "If you don't mind, and if I could just have a look at the dog too." "Standard protocol." I called Jace over and asked him to bring Max. The woman knelt and began inspecting Max gently but thoroughly, checking ears, eyes, lifting his paws. Max was calm. Too calm, in retrospect. He usually bristled around strangers, especially since the last fireworks season. She looked up after a minute. "He's a healthy boy, but his microchip's out of date." I blinked. "Microchip? That can't be right. We updated that last August after we moved." She tapped something on a small tablet. "This scan shows he's registered to a previous address. Might be a system delay, but per protocol, I'll have to bring him in for a 24-hour observation. Just to confirm identity and make sure there's no mismatch." "No way," I said. "He's not going anywhere. You can call whoever you need, but I'm not letting you take him." The smile on her face strained tighter. "Sir, I assure you, this is all legal. You can follow up at the county shelter. Here's the notice." She handed me a slip of paper, printed with a faint logo, barely legible. Max was already on a leash she must have slipped on during the exam. I stepped forward. "Let go of the leash." "Sir," she said coolly, "don't escalate this." That's when Jace burst into tears. He clung to Max's neck like his life depended on it, and I swear that dog didn't move a muscle, as if he knew something was wrong. "She's lying, Dad," Jace shouted. "She's not a vet. I saw her last week yelling at Mr. Trujillo about his weeds. That jolted me." Mr. Trujillo was on the HOA board. He'd mentioned something about a lady who tried to issue him a bogus citation over his lawn and had to be escorted off the property by security. Said she didn't even live in the neighborhood. I stared hard at the woman. "You're that HOA busybody, aren't you? Karen something." She didn't respond. Just gave a whistle. And from around the corner came a white van. Plain. No markings. My heart stopped. Two men got out. No uniforms. No badges. One carried a crate. "Don't make this harder," she said, voice low now, serious. "We'll call animal control and have the dog impounded for resisting quarantine. That's 72 hours, minimum." I stood between her and Max. "Touch him, and I swear." "Sir." One of the men barked. "Step aside." That's when I grabbed my phone. I snapped pictures. Her face, the van, the license plate. She turned then, fast and furious, swiping at my phone and shouting something I didn't catch. Max started barking, loud and fierce. Jace screamed. The woman backed off, suddenly flustered, and the two men hesitated. Get off my property, I shouted. I'm calling the sheriff. Maybe it was the look in my eyes. Maybe it was Max's growl. Either way, they retreated. The van peeled off, leaving tire streaks on my driveway. I held Jace close while Max circled us protectively. I called the police, filed a report. They came, took statements, said they'd look into it. But I got the sense they thought I was exaggerating. Still, something wasn't right. The badge, the van, the way they coordinated, it was too polished to be a random dog napping. That night, Jace couldn't sleep. I sat up with him and searched online, digging into the name Karen Ellis. Nothing. Then I tried different combinations. Karen Ellis. Karen E. Liss. Eventually, I found an old HOA newsletter from a neighborhood a few towns over. Same face. Different name. K.E. Branson. That cracked the shell. I dug deeper. Found a thread on a suburban watchdog forum. Beware the HOA impersonator. Dozens of stories. Same Mo. Posed as a vet, an animal inspector, even a city contractor. Dogs vanished. Some reappeared days later, shaved, scarred. Others never came back. No charges ever stuck. But photos were shared. The final nail came the next day. I'd sent one of the photos I took to a friend of mine who worked in federal records, just out of instinct. She called me back, her voice hushed. That woman. She's not just an HOA Karen. She's on a federal watch list. Real name's not Karen. She's been wanted for years. Fraud, impersonation, suspected in several animal trafficking cases. Her last known alias was on a Homeland Security alert 6 months ago. I sat back, stunned. Jace looked at me from the other side of the room, hugging Max tight, his face still pale. She almost took him, he said. Yeah, she did. But not again. She showed up at the door again, this time in a crisp blue uniform, holding a clipboard and wearing a badge that read, Certified Veterinary Field Officer. It was the same woman from the HOA board. The one we'd seen yelling at neighbors about trash bins, holiday decorations, and unapproved paint colors. Her name was Karen, and everyone in the community knew to steer clear. But this time, she wasn't barking about lawn height. She was here for Thor. Thor is my son's dog, a German shepherd with a heart of gold and the patience of a saint. He's the kind of dog that curls up with my boy at night, follows him to the mailbox, and even tolerates being dressed up as a superhero during Halloween. He's not just a pet, he's family. So when this vet officer showed up saying Thor had been reported for aggressive behavior and needed to be taken in for a behavioral evaluation, alarm bells went off in my head. What agency did you say you're with again? I asked, squinting at the badge, which looked just slightly off. The font was strange, the seal was blurry, and something about the way she avoided eye contact made my skin crawl. Karen shifted uncomfortably and gave me a look that said she wasn't used to being questioned. It's a federal mandate. The Department of Animal Control under the National Veterinary Safety Initiative, she said too quickly. That sounded like a jumble of buzzwords designed to sound official. My husband stepped out behind me, arms crossed, silent but present. We weren't handing over Thor without answers. Let me call someone to verify, I said, reaching for my phone. That's when her face hardened. The mask cracked. That won't be necessary. If you don't comply, I'll have to report you for obstruction, she snapped. But I was already dialing animal control. While the line rang, she turned on her heel and stormed off, muttering something about noncompliance and filing paperwork. Thor barked once, low and protective. That night, I couldn't sleep. I dug through our neighborhood group threads, searching her name, Karen Elliott, and found dozens of posts from frustrated residents. She had fined someone for planting non-regulation hydrangeas. Threatened to evict a disabled veteran for having a flagpole that stood 2 inches taller than allowed. One person claimed she even cut down a neighbor's tree while they were on vacation. But it got stranger. I found a Reddit post from a nearby county. Same woman. Same face. But she was calling herself Drive Carrie Ellis and claiming to be a veterinary epidemiologist running a door-to-door disease screening for household pets. The story was nearly identical. She attempted to take a dog, was denied, and vanished. Someone even posted a blurry photo of her vehicle. The plates were out of state. My hands trembled as I searched her aliases on a broader scale. That's when I landed on a federal bulletin board, one not intended for public eyes but accidentally indexed. Her face was there. Not under Karen Elliott. Not under Carrie Ellis. But as Caitlin Ernst. Wanted for fraud, impersonation of federal officers, and suspected involvement in a network of illegal animal trafficking. My stomach dropped. The next day, I called the FBI tip line. I reported everything. Her appearance, what she said, how she tried to take Thor. They were quiet on the other end of the line, and then one agent asked for the security footage from our doorbell camera. I sent it immediately. Within 2 hours, there were black SUVs rolling down our cul-de-sac, unmarked, discreet. The agents didn't approach our home directly but knocked on Karen's door 3 houses down. She didn't answer. A locksmith was called. They entered. What they found, I would only hear secondhand. The house, though neatly kept from the outside, was a maze of forged documents, multiple IDs, uniforms, and surveillance equipment. In the basement, what agents later called her staging zone, there were crates, tranquilizer guns, dog leashes labeled by breed, and chillingly, a digital catalog of dogs marked ready for pickup. Thor's name was on the list. They didn't catch her that day. She had fled through the back door minutes before they arrived. But her image was now plastered across every major database. Local news picked up the story, and within a week, HOA Karen became a household name across 3 states. There were tip lines, sketch renderings, and even a subreddit dedicated to spotting her in public. Meanwhile, Thor wouldn't leave my son's side. He seemed to know something terrible had nearly happened. My boy, only 9 years old, held onto Thor every night like his life depended on it. We installed a new security system, added motion-activated lights, and even bought pepper spray just in case. A few weeks later, a woman in New Mexico recognized Karen, this time calling herself Drive Catherine Ingalls, working at a pop-up animal vaccination clinic. The woman called the authorities, kept her busy under the pretense of needing help with a stray puppy, and stalled just long enough for police to arrive. When they handcuffed her, she reportedly hissed, "You don't know what you've done." I was saving them. Saving them. From what? Investigators later discovered she believed she was liberating dogs from oppressive domestic captivity. But all evidence pointed to something darker. Those dogs were being sold, some even sent overseas, never to be seen again. Thor was safe. My son was safe. But the chill never quite left the air. We later learned Karen had visited several homes in the neighborhood before ours, some with dogs that were now missing. She had carefully studied the area, the residents, the pet patterns. She knew who let their dogs out unsupervised, who had older pets that wouldn't resist. They say monsters don't wear masks. They wear uniforms, badges, and fake smiles. And this monster lived among us, controlling our lawns and holiday lights, all while running a con that would make seasoned criminals take notes. Karen, or whatever her name truly was, now awaits trial on multiple counts of impersonation, animal trafficking, and wire fraud. She faces decades behind bars. But for our family, the damage was already done. The illusion of safety in our quiet neighborhood was shattered. And Thor, he's never out of sight now. He sleeps at the foot of my son's bed, eyes ever watchful. Because once evil knocks on your door dressed as help, you never again ignore the bark of warning.